ride, Bobby.
So here we are at the 2022 NHRA US Nationals, and I'm looking at stock and super stock cars like always, but this actual super stock car is a little different than what we are all used to. I mean, my audience, I'm usually interviewing stock and super stock cars that are, you know, factory produced, strict rules and all that good stuff. However, this super stock car is a modified car. Modified production kind of moved into super stock and comp after 1981, after they got the axe. So this car is actually super stock C modified stock, driven by Venice Perno out of Canada. Here's Venice right here. Venice, how you doing, sir?
Good, I'm great.
All right, Venice. Now, we haven't done a modified car yet, so you're our first here. So you have to explain to us a couple of the rules, rule differences between traditional super stock cars such as mine versus a modified production car. Now there's super stock modified, and then there's modified stock.
Right, modified stock is a little bit tougher. I'm kind of new at this game. I've only been doing it for about 20 years, so I'll do my best. So your traditional super stock car runs horsepower per weight. So NHRA says how much horsepower your engine is, and you have to carry so much weight depending on what class you're in. These cars are cubic inch to weight. So basically, we can make any cubic inch we want, but we have to carry the weight with it. In C modified stock, which would be the original C Super modified if I'm not mistaken, this was a 10.5 pound class. It was actually one of the first original outlaw classes because it was a 10.5 inch tire. I shouldn't call it an outlaw class, maybe the first original 10.5 inch tire, because the super modified cars had 10.5 inch tires. Was one of the rules way back when. This deal is a cast iron cylinder head, 750 carburetor, 10.5 inch tire is long gone. We can run anything we want as long as it's on 15 inch. So here we are. C modified stock is the last class that has a cast iron head rule. It has to be a production based cast iron head or an approved aftermarket cylinder head that the good folks in Glendora say, yes, you can use that. So for the Chevrolet guys, there's a Dart cylinder head they're allowed to use. We really don't, I don't think that there's one for the Ford guys. Most of the Ford guys run an N351 head, and there's a pretty slick little Mopar head that the Bogners run, and they can be very fast with that deal as well.
All right. Now, okay, so I'm understanding it a little bit more now, and you're allowed any intake manifold.
Any intake manifold?
As per all super stock rules.
That's right.
Cast iron heads. Now, who builds the engines?
I build the engines. I've over the course of some time, I've been lucky to be in the company of some very smart people, and through osmosis, I've learned a little bit about this. So most of this engine building is mine. I'm nowhere near clever enough to do cylinder heads. That is done by a very good friend of mine named Darren. Most people know who he is. We'll just leave it at Darren for now. He'll chuckle about that, I'm sure. But he got me in the game with the cylinder head program. The rest of the deal is my baby. I've had some tremendous help through the years with Bill Miller. Has taught me a lot. I'm trying to think about all the people that have helped out. The good folks at Cam Motion have always pushed me the right direction. It's all Jessel valve trained. The best advice, and it seems to have paid some dividends.
Yeah, now this car turns some serious RPM. So what's the quickest you've gone with the car and the fastest you've gone with the car?
The fastest we've ever gone with this car was in 2015 at Atco, New Jersey. The car went 923, and I believe it was about 142.7 miles an hour, if I remember correctly. How can you forget? And back then we were doing things with very low oil levels and very skinny oils. Got bit by it, so we've sort of come backwards a little bit. We're not quite as fast as we used to be, but I think it's a much happier engine combination now.
In Atco, New Jersey, that's about 45 minutes from my house. That's a sea level, you know, that's a great track.
The sun and the moon and the stars we had when we went 923. We were at Atco this spring, and we set the record at 934, which wasn't a soft spot for me. It wasn't my happy place, but we were there to do that, and we'll take what we can get. But there was nowhere near the weather that we had back in 2015. I'm pretty sure it was downhill, and it was minus 18,000 feet or something in 2015. It was the sun and the moon and the stars. Everybody could have been fast.
Now, what kind of RPM are you turning with this car for everybody to know?
This car goes through the traps generally somewhere between 10,200 and 10,600, depending on how much rear gear we have in the car. We obviously put more gear in it with the worse the weather is. And in the fall, we try to take a little bit out to try to get the mile an hour back. But it seems to be happy with somewhere between a 660 and a 680 gear set in it.
Now, what kind of valve springs, handle that RPM? What kind of seat pressure and open pressure are you dealing with?
Well, I probably have too much seat pressure, and I probably have too much open pressure, according to my contemporaries. Normally, I run somewhere around 420 on the seat, and I try to get this thing to have 1100 over the nose. I don't really care about too much other. I look at what my real open valve combination is, and I aim for that. I've been scolded a few times, and we're going to try to back that off a little bit to try to get the lifters to live a little bit longer, because we're starting to see some trouble there. But most of this stuff is just, you know what, we just try it one more time and see how it goes. This has been pretty good for me. Pack springs are absolutely phenomenal. They don't seem to break when you set them up the way they tell you to. So they give me an awful lot of cushion for error.
Oh, that's nice. Now, what cubic inch is the motor?
This engine right now is 311 inches. So it's about 75, 76 over, and it's a 3-inch crank in it.
Okay. All right, now let's take a look inside the car. What kind of trans and converter are you running?
This has a Pro Trans in it, and it has an ATI converter in it for this weekend.
Now, I'm assuming a car like this probably has a 7-inch converter?
Yes, it's a 7-inch.
And what's it stall up to?
This weekend, with the air, we're probably behind the 8 ball a little bit. We're only around 8,200.
Wow. Kind of hard to get back there. You got a cage in here.
Yes, that was when we built this car. We actually put the wheel tubs in absolutely last, so I could get my big body back in there to do all the detailing. It was quite a. Nobody understood what I was talking about, and then it just made it a lot easier to finish the car off. And I have not been able to clean the rear window ever since.
Now, in a modified car, what kind of rear do you guys run?
9-inch Ford.
And you said the gear ratio.
Yep.
Can you remind us again?
It's anywhere between 650s and 680s.
Okay. And then I guess your tire size for that gear ratio. These look like some pretty big tires.
They're the small radial.
31 and a half, 13 and a half. So I would assume about a 98-inch circumference? Or...
They're actually, I think they're all around 99.7.
Okay. All right, 10,000 RPM on the license plate. Got the wheelie bars there. We know you hit the wheelie bars pretty good when you're going down track.
Yes, I hit them too hard.
Now, Super Stock, C Stock, is there any other competition here for you?
Absolutely. I have a good friend, Peter Dagnolo, who has been working really, really hard on their 67 Camaro that they've been running. It's an original modified car. The family it's been in the family for probably 40 years. I actually even have pictures of it from Milan when I was a kid. And it's just really neat that we get to bump into each other once in a while. They've worked really hard, and I have to say that they're probably faster than me right now as we're standing.
All right, now that car, I know that car well. He's Division 1. He's out of New York.
Oh my God, he's a bad racer.
And it is a cool car. The 67 Camaro
Yep.
is one of my,
Yep.
third or fourth favorite cars, I guess I'll say,
Well, yeah.
But good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you very much.
We know you are on the qualifying sheet because you went 8 under.
8 under,
in
yep.
qualifying today. Class eliminations begin tomorrow. You will have to square off against Pete. And it's just you two, I think, in Super Stock, C Stock.
Yep.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing it. Good luck to you, Venice.
Thank you very much.